What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe, the Fight Podcast. I am your host, SERG VICENTE, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It is a brand new year. 2023 is here. 2022 was in the books. It was an interesting year for combat sports, but we will talk about all of 2022 at a later date. We have so much coming up here in 2023. Before we even get into it, everybody who is watching live right now, we really do appreciate you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. We have so much coming up this upcoming year that I cannot wait to share. We have a couple new shows, a couple other guest hosts that are going to be fantastic that you guys are going to absolutely love. But that is not what we're here to discuss today. Today, unfortunately, what we have to discuss the elephant in the room. And that elephant happens to be none other than UFC and slap fighting championship president Dana White. Dana White, people, for those who do not know, has been in the news because this past weekend, as we all know, all of us were kicking it on New Year's Eve. And some of us kick it in a different way than others. Some, like myself, I didn't even make it to midnight. I was sitting there laying in bed, hanging out with my lady, watching old movies. And other people get the opportunity to kick it in Cabo San Lucas like UFC and slap fighting president Dana White. Now, the reason I continually bring up slap fighting championship is because what happened to Dana White in Cabo San Lucas. So while he was in Cabo San Lucas, and I'm sure at this point in time, everybody's seen it, Dana White went out there and was in a physical altercation with his wife. While they were there, it seems as if they were both intoxicated, inebriated even, and Dana White's wife slapped him, and he went back and retaliated in kind and multiple times. So Dana White goes out there in Cabo San Lucas, slaps his wife, and there's so much going on within the world of combat sports, and people are talking about it left and right. Before I get to what Dana White went out there and said, my thoughts is this. First of all, I don't care who did it first, because I've seen a lot of that asinine comments coming out. Oh, well, she hit him first, blah, blah, blah. Yo, that is ridiculous. There is never, ever a situation or a place where you retaliate. I don't care if you're drunk. I don't care what it is. There's never a time or a place where you retaliate and you hit a woman. One thing that I know my father always told me growing up is, if a girl ever swings on you, a woman ever swings on you in any way, you run. You turn around and you run. And I want to talk about the hypocrisy of what is going on with UFC and Dana White to this point in time. But my question is this, and even before I get into that, I have to say, let's talk about what Dana White said since then, because he, it was released on TMZ and he had an interview with TMZ. And what he ended up saying is this: my wife and I were out on Saturday night on New Year's Eve, and unfortunately that was what happened. Dana White said, I'm one of those guys you've heard me say for years. There's never, ever an excuse for a guy to put his hands on a woman, and now I'm here on TMZ talking about it. My wife and I have been married for almost 30 years. We've known each other since we were 12 years old. We've obviously been through some shit together. We have 3 kids, and this is one of those situations that's horrible. I'm embarrassed, but it's also one of those situations right now we are more concerned about our kids, which I am absolutely certain is true. He goes on to say this. We've had 3 kids, and obviously since the video popped up, we've shown the kids the video. We're more focused on our family right now. People are going to have opinions on this, and most people's opinions would be right, especially in my case. You don't put your hands on a woman ever. My wife and I love each other. We've been together for a very long time. We've known each other since we were very little, and this is just one of those unfortunate situations. Okay. Here's my thing, and I'll be honest with you, you could agree with me or not, and that's totally fine. And at the end of the day, please comment and put your, comment in the comments for me, because I would love to get your guys' opinion. In my humble opinion, Dana White needs to step down from the president of the UFC. Endeavor really needs to go out there and take a good look at this. Not only this is the definition of negative press. Having something as ridiculous as slap fighting championships literally coming out there and he ends up doing this, that is beside the point. But to be able to go out there and let's just think about if a head coach or a president in any other organization, NFL, NBA, anybody does this. Let's see Adam Silver goes out there and slaps the piss out of his wife. Adam Silver is no longer going to be the president of that brand. Now, people are going to say, well, the UFC is different. MMA is different. It is. And they have allowed specific egregious things like that to kind of just go underwater. I mean, prime example of that is Jon Jones. Jon Jones, being the star that he is, this past year, 2022, went out there and was arrested on the heels of receiving an award for the Hall of Fame. He beat up his wife to the point where his children one of his daughters had to go out there and essentially tell the police, hey, could you help my mom? And they didn't do anything with him. But at the same time, I can go down the list. Everybody from in 2021, Luis Pena, who he cut because of domestic issues. We're talking about Diego Brandao, who was cut because of domestic issues. I can even go all the way back to 2014 and talk about Thiago Santos, who he cut because of, of those issues. And he is also in that time going out there and said, hey, there not only does he say there's no place for it, he cuts those people and he is very aggressive on it. Now, in the same breath, they did sign Greg Hardy and they said, look, he's apologized and he's a reformed man, so it's okay. But here's a difference between a Jon Jones, who is a bona fide superstar, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, and some of these other individuals that this has happened to. Luis Pena, Brandao, and everything. Jon obviously is a star. My thing is this, and this is my thought process on it. The fact that this is the face of the company. You cannot have Endeavor, and I'm talking to Endeavor specifically. You cannot have a face of the company, the person who represents the shield of your brand, and not the UFC. It's not having Dana White with his two billionaire buddies doing stuff. No, this is a publicly traded company. You have Dana White with this company going out there. You cannot have somebody who is essentially a domestic abuser go out there and do those things. It isn't what it is. My brother Matty Fox, what it do? Thank you so much for joining me, my guy. Happy New Year to you, brother. But it's one of those things that we look at it. How is it possible to have somebody whom is the head of the ship? Because if anything happens at this point in time, if they cut anybody, if this happens to any of the fighters and they don't cut them or something happens, it's all going to be hypocrisy. They're all going to go out there and look at it as if, what is going on with that? And the UFC is somebody, and MMA specifically is a sport where people are already looking at, side eyes. People want to say it's barbaric. People want to say everything they want to say. This specifically is bad, guys. This is a very, 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 very bad look. And if the organization wants to continue growing and not just specifically attracting morons in January Sixers, you are absolutely going to have to part ways with Dana White. I'm telling you, it is not a positive idea. It's not something that I know a lot of people want to hear. It is just the reality of it. Think about it anywhere else. Think about it if it was your boss at whatever job you have. He goes out there and they found out he slapped his wife, he would get dismissed. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the situation. It is something that is, again, was it the first time people are going to tell me, Serge, this is the first time this ever happened? First of all, I don't know that. And when you look at that and you say that they're saying all the right things, hopefully he didn't mean it. And hopefully this was the first and only time. But here, what do we say? We got the client before Dana would ever step down, but now he's fucked around, sold the business. Now he has, and that's the thing. That is the thing, right? Great point by Matt right there. In the past, when it was the Fertittas and Zuffa, I think Dana might have been good. I genuinely believe Dana White might have been good. I think he would have been like, talk to his buddies. My bad. I shouldn't have done that shit. And they would have been like, it's okay. Let's drink some Howler Head and call it one. That's probably what they would have done. Unfortunately, now, again, we're talking about, Ari Gold out here. I mean, I know that ain't his real name, but you know what I'm talking about. You got Ari out here doing this thing, Ari Emanuel, who is running the ship. You got Disney. You have other things. Disney and these other companies are not going to allow, they might be able to allow a specific athlete to go out there and do that? Like, again, a big money athlete. John Jones, well, look, just make sure he don't fight for another year and a half. Then we'll bring him back. He's worth a lot of money, whatever. Dana White don't sell fights for the UFC. People are like, oh, he's a promoter. He's like, no. I can put anybody in that spot, essentially, if I'm Endeavor, and keep the party going. It is a New England Patriots system that these people have. Plug and play, keep it going. I don't know if the Patriots are good anymore. I don't watch football. I just threw that shit out there because y'all know what I'm talking about. All right. With that being said, let me ask you, obviously I'll open up the floor for comments or questions or anything like that as well. But we're going to continue, again, talking about this and doing more of these lives when things come about. So 2023 is going to be a fantastic year for the Fight Podcast and everything that we do. Please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this here video. Send it to your friends. Let them know about the absolute best combat sports show around, the best combat sports journalists, because at the end of the day, check it out. I'm going to talk about all this shit, okay? Anything that's spicy in the world of combat sports, when it might be too hot for some people, yo, just call me the fireman, okay? I'm out here. I'm ready to go out here and take all that heat, and we're going to talk about it, man. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 361 of the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe. The question that we posed today is, should Dana White step down from being the UFC president after his public display of domestic abuse? I say yes. What do you guys think? Let's continue the conversation, and let's go ahead and keep it going in the comments. All right. With that being said, I love you guys. Make sure you go out there. As you see, I have some fantastic merch on. You see this hoodie. Everything is Champion Brand. We have mugs. We have merch. We have everything there. Make sure you check that out on, where is it? There it is. Etsy.com/shop/the-Fight-Pod shop. Fantastic stuff there. Check that out. And also, do not forget to listen to the Fight Podcast everywhere podcasting is available: Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Also, check us out at the Scrap News, one of the absolute best combat sports media outlets out there. Check me out there. I host the Royal Rundown, a pro wrestling show, as well as interview some fantastic athletes there. So check us out there. All right. With that being said, love you guys, and I will see you guys next time right here on the Fight Podcast. Peace out.